After review of the tape, I think there were a couple questions that were asked, but it certainly bared out how we thought it would be. Two evenly matched football teams that turnover margins were really going to come into play. Had two really good defenses, and it was a close ball game, and we came up short on the turnover margin and came up short on the scoreboard. I certainly think Fresno played really well, and they're going to be in the championship game, and so more power to them, and they beat us, and so we'll move on. Getting ready for San Jose, it's a great opportunity for us to get win number 8, which anytime you go on the road in the Mountain West is always a challenge. San Jose is very capable of, they have got a good football team that at times has really made a lot of plays, and some other times they've been bitten by the turnover bug, and we're going to need to generate a lot of takeaways defensively, create some field position. They've vacillated back and forth with the quarterbacks. They've settled in, I believe, on Aaron. He's a tall, angular freshman, a guy that moves around really well. And they've got an excellent middle linebacker, Ginda. He's got 163 tackles, and that's a whole lot of tackles, so really capable player there. So we're excited about playing. We'll meet with our players this afternoon and have a really good workout this evening, and then get ourselves ready to go out to San Jose and put on a good performance. So at this time, questions.
Craig, I know it's just Monday, but Josh Allen update. I know.
Yeah, the Josh Allen update. I would say it's day by day. We're seeing some pretty significant progress, and I don't know if he'll practice today. I talked to the sports medicine people early this morning. They're encouraged about some of this progress, but we'll certainly let you know.
Coach, I guess you mentioned Frank Ginda. You had a pretty impressive resume even coming into this year. Just what does he do so well, and what we guys have to be kind of careful about?
What he carries his pads really well. He's got a good nose for the football. We'll need to make sure we get some movement up front on their defensive linemen. That's always a challenging situation for a linebacker when you have offensive linemen coming downfield on you. We'll need to get some movement on him. And then I think also we're going to need to make sure we put him in a run-pass conflict to where we're not one-dimensional, that we're able to run or pass.
You mentioned, you look at the film about, how Nick played last week, and his last 2 drives, certainly showed some things. And look, I know he hadn't started a game in a long time, but do you feel, after looking at the film, what are your thoughts? Sure. And maybe do you open things up more for him this game after?
That's a $1 million question, because we did move the ball through the air at the tail end of the game. However, I can say defensively, you stage some things at times because the clock is your ally, and we knew we were racing against the clock. And I thought Nick played well. He operated our offense well. We were clean. He didn't turn the ball over. There were no interceptions, and there was some pressure on him. So we're pleased with his progress and appreciate his efforts.
You mentioned not expecting Josh back next year. Is this some valuable, experience for you to look at Nick if he does play again this week, or even just last week, to see that?
Well, right now we're just looking, and that's not to dance around your question. We're looking at one game. We're trying to get to win 8, and so we'll evaluate that after we go, and we'll see who plays quarterback for us this week.
When San Jose's had some success, Craig, I know that doesn't show up in the win-loss record that much, but what have they done well? Is it speed on the edges? Is it some big plays or running? What have you seen them do well when they've had some success?
Sure. First of all, they're getting over 300 and some yards, and they're throwing the ball pretty well. They're running the ball some, but I think they're throwing the ball well, and they've got some good skill players and big offensive linemen. So they spread you out. They'll operate sometimes, a lot of times with 4 wide receivers. They use tight ends some, but it's not necessarily a smash mouth type of offense that we're playing. However, they can be physical, but they tend to spread you out. They've got good skill.
I know, kind of bowl games already wrapped up, and the conference is now out of the picture. How do you avoid, just any sort of letdown this week, but maybe not quite as much at stake as in past weeks?
Well, I don't think we're in position to have any talk of a letdown. We got beat Saturday, and in the Mountain West, all these games are really competitive. Our players know that. Our coaches know that. I think we need to make sure that we don't linger on a loss, but certainly we've got a great deal of respect for anybody, and we've got a great deal of respect for San Jose. I know they beat us the last time we were here.
Craig, I know Caden Jackson wasn't able to finish the game last week. Is he available, or can you give us an update there?
A little bit of update. His strength came back. He didn't have full strength at the end of the game, but that has come back. He went through the lifting workouts this morning, from what I was told, which is encouraging. And so I would say it would look probable to promising.
Is that his arm?
Stinger.
And then with CJ, you mentioned CJ didn't finish.
I think he's fine. Yep.
Which I know, coming into this year, the guys brought up a lot last year, losing 4 or 5 to end the year, and not wanting to do that again. Just how big would it be to finish strong in this season?
Well, our players, and I had a great discussion with our captains last week. They, I think it's been 30 years since we've gone to back-to-back bowl games, and you've got to temper that a little bit because there's a lot more bowl games now than what there have been. But it's been, I think, 19 years since we had back-to-back winning seasons, and so for us to notch an 8-game win during the regular season is really important for us, and I know our players want to finish strong, and I know our coaches do as well.
I know you recruit in California very heavily, whether it's northern or southern, and I know just playing one game doesn't make a difference, but to play there and everything, just your thoughts on that, and just the reception you've been getting staff-wise and program-wise in California, and even moving forward.
Well, that's a really good question, because we've had a great deal of success recruiting California, finding our right guy. And anytime you play a Mountain West team, San Jose, he's got an excellent school. They recruit down there. We go head-to-head with them in recruiting a lot. That's not to say whoever wins on the gridiron is going to win the recruiting battles, but it certainly does shine a favorable light. And so it's going to be important for us on many facets. 1, to get win number 8, and then 2, to keep momentum going with our program to finish strong. And then 3, I think perception and recruiting is important.
Do you get a sense, Craig, whether you're in Northern California or Southern, that you get more of a better reception or respond better from recruits and coaches, whether you're in the northern part or southern part, or is it mixed?
Oh, you know what? You find that timetables on making decisions may be a little bit different in Northern California for Southern California. We've gotten a good response on both places. If you do look at the matrix of our recruiting pattern here, there's been more players from Northern California than Southern California, but every year is different. Tyler Hall's turned out to be an excellent defensive back. He's from Southern California. You've got Carl Granderson and Josh Allen's in the middle, so it's a big state.
I guess logistically, is it helpful to actually be out there in terms of the recruiting you can do in California? I know last year you guys didn't go out there until the bowl game.
Oh, it certainly does. I know we'll have some coaches out. We've already had coaches out extensively in California. I've been out in California, and I plan on being out in California this next week, along with a lot of our other coaches.
Coach, I know you said, Josh, if there's any way you can't play, he will play, but is there any balancing just, between his future and not wanting to put him at risk versus the present?
Josh and I have had great discussions. I can tell you Josh is all in for the Cowboys. And, we'll rely heavily on our medical staff, and then also to see where Josh is at. The fact that it's his throwing arm is different than maybe, say, like a linebacker or something like that. And so we'll see how this week goes. If he's capable of playing to helping us win, he'll play.
Coach, going back to Saturday, what really impressed you about your defense?
Our defense? I thought that there's a couple things that really became apparent. I thought we played great red zone defense. When we were able to hold up, Fresno moved the ball some during the course. I thought, they had too many rushing yards. It was a little bit of a ooze, but when we got in the red zone, we tightened our belts. And then on the flip side, though, when it became in that 4-minute drill, when Fresno was trying to run the ball and trying to run the clock out, our guys bowed up, and we got the ball back. And so I thought our guys played hard. However, I do think, we had probably more missed tackles than what we typically do. You need to credit Fresno a little bit for that. But, if there was maybe a little bit of a hangover from the Air Force game, I don't know, we seemed a little heavy-legged. But I thought the not so much not only don't quit, but we got the ball back for our offense a couple times right there when it looked pretty bleak, so I was pleased with that. And then obviously the point total. I mean, you're looking at 13 points. And typically, you know, as games go, 13 points and make an opponent punt 9 times is pretty good.
Logan Wilson and I guess Andrew Winger as well both went over the 100 tackle mark. I know you guys aren't, you know, all that focused on the individual stuff, but with Logan particularly this year, just how impressed have you been with what he's done moving to that?
I think he's really, he's taken the move from Will to Mike, and that has been a smart move on our part. It puts him more in the middle, so you see him go sideline to sideline more, and certainly he has a better understanding of our defense, and he's become a much more physical player. He's added some lean muscle mass. Andrew's continued to play well too.